Well, the goddamn Bills.
I told you, shouldn't let Chan Gailey out of the home on Sundays. That's the first mistake. Let him stay in the old folks' home all week long. Why do they let him out on Sundays?
I mean, he's terrible. You'd think with those satellite dishes, he'd be hearing, he'd learn something from somebody somewhere. But he's a terrible head coach. He doesn't know how to call the game. There's a 9-year-old pudgy-fingered little bastard somewhere playing Madden football on his Xbox that knows when to challenge a call, when to kick a field goal, when to go for it. Who your best player is?
Who is their best player again?
Tashard Choice, I think.
Tashard, yeah, because when Jackson got hurt, Freddie Jackson got hurt, who'd they bring in to put in?
Yeah, there you see number 20 out there, and you don't know what's going on. I mean, we can talk.
I thought finally, okay, I'm not happy Jackson got hurt. He's one of my favorite all-time Bills. He's a hard-nosed, great running back. He's all-purpose back. He runs the ball fine. He got those couple of fumbles. But when he got hurt, I said the good thing about it is, well, now Spiller they'll have to give it to Spiller.
Yeah, and what do you expect? I mean, I don't know in what world, I don't know in what universe. That's like when the 49ers were in their prime with Montana or Steve Young. It's like, oh, we're going down, we're going to score the last touchdown. Hey, get that Jerry Rice guy out of there.
Yeah.
We don't need him. It'd be terrible. Let's get Thurman Thomas. We'll put Thurman Thomas on the sidelines, and we'll put, even though Kenneth Davis was pretty good.
Yeah, well, Kenneth Davis came in on the end.
He will come in sometimes.
Well, we have the jump over. Rod Riddick used to jump over the top.
Right, yeah. He made, $100,000 a year jumping over the top of the
Roosevelt,
pile.
like guys in certain situations.
But either way, you have Jim Kelly throwing the ball, it's a little bit different. I mean, we're talking about an inept team. And yesterday was a good example. See, the week before, I was a little deflated because even though we won, it's like, hey, who cares? You beat Jacksonville, you might as well beat UB, whatever. But when you got the Rams coming, I know they're not great, but they're kind of equal with us. I mean, they're on the same playing field.
They tied San Francisco 49ers. They beat the 49ers. We got killed by the 49ers. I thought, wow, this team's going to hammer us. I said, well, maybe our defense is coming around. They're playing better. They're putting a nice pass rush on them.
Yeah, most of the game until when it counted. But
I still think, I don't know, you said they were doing such a good job, but I still think on their plane, we'll look at it right here, a 4-man rush. I would have just throw the kitchen sink at him. Now, he gets that ball off pretty quick, but if he was being rushed a little bit more, will he make that perfect throw? I mean, here you see the cornerback just misses getting it, but I still thinking, I don't know, we could look at it in slow motion, but the guy's not running full speed. The cornerback's not running full speed.
Yeah, he's a half second late. And
why isn't he just doesn't care where the ball is, just running as hard as you can? This guy's not going to catch it. He's kind of like running half speed, staying with him. If the ball comes here, I think I can get there. He was just an inch
Well, it's
away.
the mentality of the team. If you read today in the Buffalo News, Jerry Sullivan, I mean, hey, you love him, you hate him, but you know what the bad part about it is? He's right. I mean, he's watching it just like us, and he's right. He's going to every game. He's sitting in the press box. He knows. And the team is playing scared, and it looked like, and we've watched it, we're watching it, Brooks is scared. Oh, he could cut to the corner. He could stop. Who cares? Just stick on him.
Stick one guy. Yeah. Look, tell me he's not running.
Well, and last week he was flagged a bunch, and maybe the week before. Well, last week I'm pretty sure. But so maybe they get scared. I mean, he's a young guy, so I'm not going to put it on him.
Yeah, well, you can't put it on one play.
I mean, hey, George Wilson drops the game winner.
A couple of them, it felt like he had.
He had another one in the end zone too. That was a game winner, pretty much, if you just pick it off. And then also with the 4-man rush we were talking about before. Now this game, Wannstedt actually threw some blitzes in there. I saw McKelvin coming in, which was a great idea. Think about it. McKelvin is the fastest defensive back. You put him in the slot, and you just send him at the quarterback. And hey, look, it wored. The quarterback doesn't know what to do. He's just got to throw that ball away.
Just get rid of it.
If you notice, their quarterback also throws the ball away quite well because he's, good. He's a good quarterback. But anyway, one thing I want to say is I know Vince here is against the 4-man rush. Thinks you should do a little bit more, especially in that last drive. And hey, maybe so. But one thing that I did notice thinking about it just now, 4-man rush going straight up, but they were going to the outside and they weren't really getting anything from the outside. If you take one of those defensive ends, Moore, Williams, you stunt him up the middle, then that collapses the middle, then maybe he can't step up and make those throws. That would have been, but they don't do that. They just run straight ahead.
They do it every once in a while. I think on one of the sacks they did it.
But not when it counts?
Not when it counts. 84-yard drive at the end. It seemed like they made like 3 or 4 miracle passes in this drive. And we'll go through the drive, but there's one, he's just like getting hammered, and Brooks is right on him, and he throws it to the sideline. Then the fourth down pass. Here he is. You got McKelvin in motion with him, and McKelvin can't make that stop.
Yeah, he
and
stubs
come
his
back,
toe or
stubs his
whatever it
toe. You
is.
see him limping a little bit at the end, and the guy makes his circus catch.
Yep.
It's like whatever can go wrong will go wrong when it
Well,
comes to
another
the
thing
Bills.
too is the whole game we were playing really solid defense. Bradford was horrendous. He didn't have a very good percentage. Most of his yards and most of his completions happened on that final drive. And Wannstedt was calling a pretty good game from up there.
Up
He had
until
some
that point.
blitzes. It's almost as if he had it a complex D. He had it all fitting for their offense. And then at the end, he's like, "Oh well,
Which do
we
do?
should just
Yeah.
keep it the same."
It's
Just
too simple or too
yeah,
simple.
simple. Yeah, let's just keep it
Let's,
simple.
Yeah, let's
And
don't
the
make a
same thing
mistake.
used to happen when we would when Jerron was here. I remember one game in particular we were playing the Broncos, and Jay Cutler, who love him or hate him, he's a top end draft pick, quarterback, strong arm, all that crap. When he was a rookie playing for Mike Shanahan, at the end of the game, we played some weird base defense, no blitzes, no pass rush, and this kid was throwing short. They went right down the field and they scored and they won.
Yeah.
And that was just like this game.
Well, I was telling you
And they
before, it
win.
used to happen with Joe Montana and the boys. You'd be watching, you wouldn't see the game because it was the NFC team, and you'd be watching the score all game. It'd be 3-7, 5-9, some crazy score all game long. And then they'd show at the very end, Montana gets the ball with 5 minutes left and marches down and scores the winning touchdown, and they win the game. They blew teams out too, but they'd be playing
Sure.
Atlanta or St. Louis, and they would just find a way to win.
The better team makes it in the end.
And the Bills, all the O.J. Simpson years, the post Marv Levy years, the Bills would always play these types of games. We'd be saying afterwards like, oh, one or two more plays, we could have won that game, but they never did, and they'd always find a way to lose, and they'd have a losing season for the year.
Yeah, and it's a losing mentality, and the fans have to, and we have to realize, no, it isn't just that one play. It's not just that Brooks didn't cover him right. It's that the coach is a bonehead,
Yeah.
and that he says.
Okay,
and,
let's just talk about those 15 other plays that he should have called, which were hand the ball to who?
Yeah,
He had 8 touches.
28.
8 touches.
He's out.
Touches, yeah.
He stands next to Gailey. Okay, so it's not like he doesn't know. Gailey's, he puts his hand on his thing. And
What
he's
is-
got his
oh,
ears tuned
God.
into. He's getting like Japanese radio. Maybe that's what it is. Those things, those
What he's
ears
doing.
are getting in.
He
Well,
says-
anyway,
oh, yeah,
Spiller's
well,
stand right next to you. So you get your best player.
It's not his turn.
Just stand and oh, not yet, son. Oh, looks like Fitzpatrick got sacked. Now he definitely can't run on 2nd and 17. Even though if you would, he'd probably get 10 yards. And
But even if
whatever.
even they give it to Spiller on first down, if he gets 2 yards, they say, okay, we got to throw it now. Now Fitzpatrick throws an incomplete pass. Now it's 3rd and 8, and they never hand it off if it's more than 3rd and 2. I've never seen him run on 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 5. Never, ever once seen him run the ball in a situation like that. And so what happens is he runs it on first down. If he doesn't get a lot of yards, or if he gets a first down, they'll throw it the next play, and then all of a sudden it's this long distance, and then the game kind of evolves where he only gets 8 carries. He only gets 7 carries. How does he only get 7 carries?
well,
I just
the
don't
wind,
understand
he's
it. Yeah.
winded.
He's winded.
I mean,
He's a world-class athlete.
CJ, can you run a 13-yard run? How difficult is that for
Or
you?
you have to get out of bed. Could you do it getting out of your bed? Or watch this. Yeah, we'll put his quote up here.
To me, 13 yards, I mean, I can run that, just waking up out my sleep.
So you have to give him the ball. I mean, it's crazy. And another thing, too, one of the things Gailey said, I don't know if I read it or I watched it or whatever, but he definitely said in regards to the no field goal, and Vince was generous enough to hand off some tickets to me. I was able to go to the game yesterday, and you may not have seen this in the television, but when we were there, they're right about to kick this field goal. It's almost like, we're right about to do it. They're lining up, and then he just calls this timeout, almost like he just freaks out. And then the players don't know what's happening. They look at him, and then as soon as, Ryan Lindell just flips out, throws his helmet on the sidelines, and he's so furious because he knows he can kick it. I mean, he's been doing it for years.
He's only missed 1 field goal all year.
He's been here a decade. He knows the weather. Last week, he kicked one in the rain 50 yards.
Pouring rain.
And what did Gailey say? He said, well, that 1 or 2 or 3 yards makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Well, Vince was at the game in the rain. Didn't he make it with like 10 yards?
Yeah,
It was fine.
it was
Just
plenty
booted. It was
plenty
worse
of
weather the week before. he says things like that, like,
But the thing about it is, let's think about it. He misses it there. Okay, the ball's at the 34. So you punt the ball, chances are it's going to go through the end zone.
Well,
but even if it doesn't,
Yeah.
it's only a 30-yard, 27-yard differential. It's not like a huge difference. So if you go for it on third down to get a couple yards, it's even less of a differential.
or
If
fourth down, you mean? If
yeah,
you
on
just go
fourth
for it.
down, yeah, just go for it. Or if you would have ran, same thing happens too. There's 2 incompletions that happened before it. If you just ran the ball two
Now,
times
forgive me if
before it
I'm wrong,
happens,
and
but,
maybe you can look after, maybe whatever the. I'm pretty sure after we punted, we gave him shitty field position, and then we did stop him. Right? We did hold him.
It did work. Yeah, Ruvel Martin, who I've always given.
Oh,
a
yeah,
hard
he
time,
did.
He makes this
He
diving
learned.
thing, and they get it at the 4-yard line.
Well, he's got to realize
so
he's
that
going to be a
worked.
special
That worked
teamer.
out well, but the points were important there more than the field position.
And it was early enough
And-
to
and
where even if they would have scored, like I was saying,
we ended up
plenty of
stopping
time.
them, but they ended up punting the ball all the way back to our 30. So it ended up not being a 20-yard difference. It ended up being from the 30 to the 30. So
Right.
well, that is was 20. It's 40-yard difference.
Yeah, and maybe you didn't
So
give
we
them
ended
the
up
points,
we ended
but-
up losing on that exchange. We went from our 30, we ended up losing 40 yards, and then okay, now we got the ball. It's very similar to the Tennessee game, and we got the ball. We have the lead. There's about 5 minutes left. We need a 4-minute offense. What does a 4-minute offense do? It grinds it 3 yards at a time, painfully down the field. It's not passes that go incomplete and stop the clock. It's grinding it. So what does he do? It's 3rd and 7. And I don't know if you said you weren't sure if it was wide open on this case, but he throws this long bomb to TJ Graham. And today they're on the radio, they're talking about he's too conservative, he's doesn't. It's not conservative. It's calling the right plays at the right time.
Right.
Running the ball in that situation is a good thing because we grind it out and we take the clock away. You just get the first down here too. If CJ Spiller's wide open on this one, but even though all day long he's throwing 6-7 yard passes, today now when the game's on the line, when you need to grind it out, he's trying for a bomb for a touchdown.
And it's not the first time
have
either
a
on a
5-yard
third down like that.
We a field goal makes it 8 points. I mean, you just want to kill the clock. Instead, what we do is we give them the ball right back. And what do? They have their 4-minute drive and give it to us with 48 seconds left in only 2 timeouts. And why do we have 2 timeouts? Because he sends his field goal unit out,
Which we
and
said,
then
sure.
calls timeout to send them off. Take the 5-minute play.
Right.
He was afraid he was going to kick it and miss it. And that's what he said. I was afraid, and I called timeout.
Well, and now that we've seen this team, this particular Bills 2012 incarnation, whatever the hell you want to call it, we've seen this happen. This has happened a good maybe 5 or 6 times where Fitzpatrick, not only can he not throw the deep ball, he just doesn't. And then when we do finally choose to do it, he does it on like a 3rd and 8 at a critical time of the game where he decides, hey, I'm going to do something I'm not even capable of doing.
And the ball was nowhere near being caught.
Never. I think he threw 2. And then another thing I wanted to talk about, we have this guy, TJ Graham. He doesn't look like a Roscoe Parrish for those of you that aren't 9 years old and remember him. He is fast, but he's kind of built, he's kind of like a Spiller type. He's thick.
He caught a nice 50-yarder last week against the
He
Jags.
can take a hit, and that was a short one that he took. What I'm saying is
No, that was 50 in the air. That was in the
Oh,
air.
right.
They-
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Where
yeah.
he
And
fell back,
backwards
kind of.
and
Yeah.
got
That's
to
the only
3
one.
yards,
That is the
yeah.
only one he's
That
gotten.
He's gotten behind
but
him.
he
got behind him so far that point where he was able to catch it running back.
Yeah, right. But we've got this rookie. Now, and I was telling Vince last week that the Rams rookie receiver, Givens, who they took
Picked
after the week before, he had 11 catches. So look, if they draft a guy, they use him. I mean, go figure. But the point is, all year long, this Graham, every time that we do pick to throw this ball, it's actually pretty smart. So it makes me wonder because sometimes it's the coach and sometimes it's the quarterback. How about it's both of them and they both need to go away? But the point is, real quick, Graham is always open on these deep balls. Fitzpatrick cannot get him the ball. It's either too short or too to the right or the left. I mean, it's just silly. And every time, if he just
not enough arc.
and I'm seeing these other goddamn quarterbacks. The Redskins now they have RG3 and he's great and he gets hurt. What happens? The quarterback they took in the 5th round
Takes his place.
Game-winning touchdown, game-tying 2-point conversion, and then they come back and they kick a field goal. We could have had him. We could have had all these guys.
Somebody.
It's crazy.
They didn't even try to pick anybody.
Right.
That's another point they make in the paper. Why don't they at least take a shot at somebody?
Sure.
They picked Brady in the 6th round.
Yeah.
They picked Montana in the 3rd round.
Who did we take though a couple years ago? Remember we took
just
some
take
kid,
somebody.
some kid from Troy.
But I don't care who they
retard
take,
that
as long as they
isn't
take
playing.
somebody.
Well-
they didn't. In the last 3 years, they have not drafted a pick with Nix. Buddy Nix has not drafted since he got here, and everyone talks about what a genius this guy from Harvard is, Fitzpatrick. But here he is on 30 seconds left in the game with one timeout, and he takes a sack with guys wide open. He's just got to
Two guys wide open.
But you don't have you don't have a time. It's 30 seconds. You got to make these quick passes, and you just got to get rid of it. If there's any kind of pressure at all, you got to get rid of it. You don't only have one timeout. You need to get a field goal. You need that timeout to stop the clock to get your field goal unit out there. So you cannot even get a ball inside the without going out of bounds and win the game. You don't have a chance. You just have to get rid of it. He takes a sack last time out, and then he throws that goofy interception at the end. It's just dumb.
Well, another thing too is I was telling him I really wanted to mention it now, and this video is up there. Hopefully by the time you're watching this, and we go to this. I go to this website BuffaloRumblings.com. It's very good. There's good fans on there, and one of these Maroons put a post up and comparing Tom Brady's season when he was 29 years old with Fitzpatrick's season, and showing that the stats are very close. And why is Fitzpatrick the scapegoat of the team? I mean, blah, blah, blah. Fact of the matter is, you cannot compare these two players. One player who all year, when the game is on the line,
Brady, he's the same as Brady.
Brady might have had a good defense, all this stuff, and this was before Brady was putting up the crazy astronaut-type numbers. But at the time, the reason people started gravitating towards him was because when the game was on the line, you give him the ball with a minute left, 48, 56 seconds, whatever it was, he'd drive right down, and then they'd win. Now, the quarterback does that.
Well,
I mean,
that's it.
all-
It's winning and losing. It really doesn't matter. You know, these guys on the radio right now are talking about Joe Namath really didn't have that great stats. Joe Namath? You're really going to compare stats with Joe Namath? Come on, give me a break. Why do you think he was Joe Namath? Because he won one Super Bowl? No, the guy had an arm and a half, and he won games. He knew how to win games.
Sure, and it's not like you're gonna.
Won
It's not like you're gonna
games.
compare, and that's a
Joe
totally
Namath?
different game. 50 years ago, you're not gonna compare the U.S. military
17
now
minutes.
with Alexander the Great's army that conquered the world thousands of years ago. I mean, sure, we'll kill him, but it's apples and oranges. It doesn't make any sense.
Winning and losing
But
is all that matters.
one thing that we do know, winning and losing is what matters. And I don't know if we're gonna be able to get the clip. I'm gonna see if we can get it. But as we all know from our prior genius of a head coach, it is hard to win games in the NFL.
God bless America. Could I have my Sundays back? Somebody give me my Sundays back. I
Right.
want them back.
And Vince here is looking for his
terrible.
Monday, Wednesday,
Sabres
Fridays, and then
means-
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Well, the Sabres are undefeated still. They're having a great year so far. So
With
I
the
got my
30-game
Sabres in the
season,
front
maybe
row.
they'll just play the playoffs and get some Russian guys over here, and we'll get a cup.
Oh God! God bless America.
Okay, go Bills. How about them
Go
Seahawks?
Sabres.
58-0. Can't wait to be on the dirty side of that.
58. I don't know about that, but I think Marshawn Lynch is going to run the ball for 150 yards.
Gosh, that's the game we win
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's hard. It's
I
just-
know we're supposed to end, but yeah, what happened yesterday? Pittsburgh and Cincinnati both lost. Gave us a chance because you know what? If we would have won the game, they would have probably both won their game. It wouldn't have mattered. But just to aggravate us a little bit more, the teams that we're chasing both lost.
sure, and they'll go to the Sky Dome or whatever the hell it's called, and they'll have 10,000 fans on the carpet and the shitty field, and
Just to aggravate.
okay.
That's it.
Go
See you
Bills.
next week. Fuck you.